Padmaja Joshi, and we are putting in the People's Court today the attempt to politicize dietary habits, the dirty politics around beef. First, we had that reprehensible image from Kerala where a cow was slaughtered, where a calf was slaughtered in full public view. Is this an attempt to try and muddy the waters? The second image that we want to bring to you is that of the beef festival that was held, among other places, in IIT Madras. And the third disturbing image is from today, where one of the organizers of that beef festival in Madras was beaten up, set upon allegedly by a group of right-wing activists. There can be discussion, there can be differences, there can be debate, but who is muddying waters? How did violence, how did provocation of that kind ever become the answer to any problem, to any question? People who are trying to provoke, politicize and engage in violence are being put in the People's Court today. And this politics of beef getting out of hand. A 26-year-old student of IIT Madras was beaten up brutally. The reason? He was part of the beef festival organized in the institute. This is 26-year-old Suraj. He was surrounded and set upon by a group of about 8 students. The attackers allegedly belong to a right-wing students group. Suraj, meanwhile, is a PhD student of aerospace.
Around 7 to 8 people were surrounding him in an intimidating manner, but only one person physically attacked him.
Okay.
His eye was severely injured. We admitted him first in the institute hospital, but because there was a huge swelling and because of the swelling, they were not able to assess him.
Okay.
Because of that, he was taken to the. Right now, he is in emergency care.
Did he eat beef on that day? Did he participate?
He was one of the people. We all joined together.
Weren't there any security guards to stop a fight in the Singh canteen?
No, this happened suddenly. Like one guy first came and sat next to him, asked threatening questions.
Okay, and
suddenly he began hitting, and around 7 to 8 people suddenly surrounded him so that even his friend couldn't interfere.
What was the guy's name who attacked?
Manish.
Now, this attack, remember, comes close on the heels of protests organized in several places against notification of cattle slaughter by the Environment Ministry. A ban was imposed on the sale of cattle for slaughter. IIT Madras was one of the places where this protest was organized. The students have now lodged a complaint with the police, naming Manish, a student believed to be affiliated to a right-wing students group. Joining me live now from Chennai is Pramod Madhav. First of all, Pramod, any clarity yet about who was behind the attack?
Well, Padmaja, it seems like pretty speculative, but right now I could only...
All right, we'll try and get that audio link with Pramod back in just a second. Let's try again. Maybe if we can get through to Pramod. We know that the statement of the man who was beaten up has also been recorded, but his injuries, if you could also describe them to us, they are quite grave, we are made to believe, Pramod. What more have you heard? All right, we'll try and get back to Pramod later in the day. This is also the big story at 9 p.m. on News Today with me, so don't forget to tune in at the time. The big question we will raise, who is trying to muddy the waters? Why is this beef rage being dragged into yet another campus? Moving on, the other big story in the People's Court just today, after Army Chief General Bipin Rawat defended the use of a civilian as a human shield in the Kashmir Valley. One of the senior most politicians in the Congress has spoken out against it. In fact, P Chidambaram went so far as to say that the army is being dragged into politics and is now being made to fight its own people. Interestingly, now the Congress finds itself speaking in at least 2 voices, because you had just days ago Captain Amrendra Singh, the serving Chief Minister of Punjab, who not only lauded Major Gogoi but also said that he deserves a much, much higher award.
I'm amazed that the Army Chief should say we're fighting a war against our own people. Indian Army was not to fight Indian people.
The Indian Army is not to fight against its own people. An advice from the former Home Minister P Chidambaram, the man who himself in 2012 proposed that the army be used to strike against Naxals in insurgency-hit areas. If this isn't plain rank opportunism, then what is? And not just opportunism, Chidambaram's so-called advice to the army is in stark contrast with his own party's stalwart and Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrendra Singh. While the Punjab Chief Minister sought a gallantry award for Major Gogoi for his decision to use a human shield, Chidambaram simply called it inhumane.
That's a gross violation of human rights. We've been pilloried all over the world. The argument is that Major Gogoi thought out of the box to get out of a difficult situation. But why did they drive that man tied to the bonnet for 28 kilometers through 9 villages? If you want to get out of a situation, you'll probably drive 500 meters. Half a kilometer and you're out of the situation.
I have from day one been saying Gogoi should be given a good gallantry service award. He has been recognized by the chief by giving him a commendation card, and I'm very happy.
So is there a clear confusion in the Congress party? Or is the party running with the hare and hunting with the hounds?
He went there to save those people from the police and CRPF and the electoral officers who were trapped in that room by 900 stone pelters. So the action that he took was to save the lives of those people trapped inside that room.
Well, I think he is absolutely incorrect. First of all, he must know in what circumstances he had to resort to this out-of-box thinking and this approach he had to adopt, purely because that was the situation, and this kind of a measure he had to take to save many lives.
Tough times call for tough decisions. The army has made it clear. And Chidambaram, a former minister who very well knows the sensitivity attached to the issue of Kashmir, is very well aware about what's at stake, but still goes on to choose politics over national security. Isn't it high time that the Congress party should make it clear whose side it is on? You decide. With Javed Ansari in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, joining us now in the People's Court is Aman Sinha, is a spokesperson of the BJP. We have Major General Harsha Kakkar, who's a retired defence expert, and we have Tehseen Poonawalla, who's a political analyst and a supporter of the Congress. And in that capacity, Tehseen Poonawalla, I want to ask you, at the outset, would you like to admit that a politician's stance on national security depends on whether he is in government or in opposition? And having said that, maybe it's just natural that Mr. Chidambaram should say the things that he does today.
No, not at all, because there is no duplicity of stance out here. The Congress, unlike my friend Aman Sinha's party, is a democratic party where different people are entitled to different views and are entitled to express it. It's not a party run by
Of course, you're entitled to various views, but don't you think that when it comes to sensitive issues and you have a view which is slightly dangerous, which goes on to brand the Indian Army as one that is fighting its own people, maybe those views should be kept personal?
Now, do not interrupt me, Majab, when I speak. The words dirty war was used by the chief of the army, quoted by PTI, and he's not retracted or clarified on it. When you use dirty war was used against the Argentinian people itself. No army in the world, no democracy is entitled to fight its own people or supposed to fight their own people. If we believe that Kashmiris are a part of us, are a part of India,
but when did the army chief say that the dirty war was against the Kashmiri people?
Please, I told you
the dirty war. Look, I want to interrupt you. If you are going to obfuscate and mislead, I will interrupt you.
Did you not read the PTI statement?
I have read the PTI statement. I have read the PTI statement, and I will quote it to you verbatim. I will quote it to you verbatim.
Exactly.
No, I will quote it to you verbatim. But will you then admit that you are misinterpreting it?
So against whom is he fighting?
He is fighting against the infiltrators, Tehseen. This is very convenient and a very dangerous interpretation. Major General Harsha Kakkar, can you please come in on this now? Maybe I am misinterpreting.
Now let me talk. Now,
why
no,
would
no,
you
no,
even assume that the army would fight a dirty war against its own people?
Let me make my
Major General Kakkar.
1 minute. No, Padmaja.
Yeah, okay. Now, Tehseen, this is where you're making a mistake.
No, this is very unfair. You know,
you're making a mistake. Let me first clarify some issues that you need to realize before you speak.
Do not interrupt me. No, I'm not making a mistake. Let me first clarify.
Why won't I?
First clarify.
Because you're going off tangent.
I didn't make my point. Let me make my point. The point is, because I have one sentence to make, you completely lie. The man on the jeep was not an infiltrator. He was an Indian citizen, a Kashmiri citizen. You are fighting a dirty war.
You're talking of that one man on the jeep. Are you concerned about those?
And you come here and manipulate the statement and give me advice?
No, this is where you're wrong.
I'm talking about the one man who's an Indian citizen.
You're absolutely wrong. All right. If that one man is an Indian citizen, what about the polling officials?
There is no right or wrong. People have a right to diversity.
If that man is an Indian citizen, what about the polling officials? Are they infiltrators? On whom stones and petrol bombs were being thrown? Who are they?
Is an institution allowed to break the law?
One sec, forget the institution. What about those polling officials? So if the army went in to rescue its own people, and if our own people are interfering, then they have a full right to take action. Why are you coming into the picture and saying that?
This is where defense
No, I'm sorry, you're running away. You are only sticking on to one point. One man who's tied to the jeep. What about those polling officials? Are they not Kashmiris? Are they not Indian citizens? How can they be thrown and hit? Why aren't you considering them? Who are they for you? They mean nothing to you. That's the problem.
Just a second.
You only have one picture of one man.
General Kakkar, just a second. And I want to bring in Aman Sinha in a second as well. But don't just keep saying one man, two man, Tehseen Poonawalla. My simple question, in fact, General Kakkar's question, it would be nice if you answer that.
One man,
if you have a polling party of election officials, if you have some locals, if you have the CRPF, which has sent out an SOS, and a quick reaction team comes in to rescue them from about 800 people who were gathered there, as was said by Major Gogoi, you don't think those lives are important, Mr. Poonawalla?
I'll answer it in 30 seconds. First of all, if this was the case, where is the video of that? Point number one. Point number two, assuming you have the videos of that, why take the man for 28 villages? Why not leave him after a kilometer? Why parade him around Kashmir and 28 villages? Why make a spectator and humiliate somebody? And for your last point, that man tied to the jeep was an Indian citizen. Everything that went wrong he
still is an Indian citizen. Of course he's an Indian citizen.
Was violation of the army's role.
Okay.
Exactly. So then how dare you humiliate somebody and tie him to a jeep and parade him to 28 villages?
All right, let Aman Sinha respond to that. Let Aman Sinha respond to that. But before that, very quickly, a small point. If you're looking for videos, Tehseen Poonawalla, if you have a mob of 400, maybe there are other things occupying that major's mind other than shooting a video. Aman Sinha.
Exactly. So then let there be an inquiry. There's an inquiry that's going on. So why award the major before the inquiry gets over? Let the inquiry
do not interrupt.
Why are you awarding him before the inquiry gets over?
You have been preaching on not to interrupt. Please do not interrupt now.
I'm not interested in interrupting you. I'm not interested in interrupting you.
Padmaja, the whole nation salutes the bravery and valor of... It's all right. You are the only smart person on the face of this earth. The whole nation salutes the bravery and valor of Major Gogoi, and he, by his professional astuteness, he has saved large number of lives of Kashmiri people, of Indians who were there, of about 20 people who were held hostage, because he avoided a confrontation situation, he avoided a bloodshed. And if other people are going to opine and preach that there is something supreme than right to life, then let them do it. We have nothing to say. They have lost all their political capital and credibility in this country. But let me say that whatever Major Gogoi did was absolutely the right thing to do, and he saved large number of lives, not only of those who were held hostage. He save our democratic process, but there was a mob of about 1200 people, and he avoided a shootout. It could have been a bloodshed out there.
And my simple question to you is, Tehseen Poonawalla, that here you have a veteran and a senior respected member of your party who recognized the issue for what it is. Look at what Captain Amrendra Singh said, and for a change, political considerations, partisanship was set aside. And Captain Amrendra Singh said, yes, this man deserves to be rewarded for thinking out of the box. And then you have another senior leader who comes in and says, look at this. This is an army that is fighting its own people. It's killing its own people. No, it's not. Tehseen Poonawalla.
If Captain Amrendra has a right to his point of view, as is Mr. Chidambaram. First of all, on this very show, you gave me 4 figures, 800, 900, the defense expert gave another figure and Aman gave 1200. So first have a figure. You don't have a figure because the inquiry is not over. Let the inquiry get over. Once the inquiry establishes that Gogoi, Major Gogoi is a hero, everyone will salute and reward him. But why are you jumping into it right now and humiliating another citizen? And doesn't the citizen have under Article 21 the right to life? Under the right to life, the right to dignity is being mentioned.
I will ask the question back to you. Why is Mr. Chidambaram jumping in right now and saying that this is an army that is political, that is being politicized, that is being made to fight its own people? I throw that question right back at you. And he's a former home minister.
Because the army chief says he's fighting a dirty war, and because the army chief says he's fighting a dirty war and stone pelters will be treated as some sort of enemies of the country. This is your own people. What do you mean by you will treat your people as enemies of the country?
No, we are not talking about our own people. We are talking about people, and this has been discussed at length. General Kakkar, about how these are just few stray elements. I will let him respond to that. These are just a few stray elements.
War is being played out by Pakistan.
Exactly.
That is what he said. He says it's a dirty war being played by Pakistan in Kashmir.
No, what is the point that you are making?
Please listen to what he said. Read what he said.
That is very elementary and basic. That is very elementary and basic. That is what General Bipin Rawat was saying. And I do not know why it is being misquoted and misinterpreted. But please allow me to complete. Padmaja, I could not complete.
It's not being misquoted, it's PTI report.
Let me tell you that right to life was also there for about 1200 people who were there. About 20 persons who are held hostage. And even if there is any ambiguity on data or how many persons are there, even if one life is there, that is precious for us. A shootout was avoided. What did you want? Did you want a shootout in Kashmir? Did you want people to be killed there?
So why
what did you want? What are you preaching about?
So why did you,
let me say,
even
Padmaja,
if that is true,
that these
even if what Aman Singh is saying is true,
which are trying to
let me finish now, come in.
Such anti-national and separatist element, they are not doing any national service at all. What do you mean by finish? I'm yet to complete. You are interrupting all the time and you are saying I'm yet to finish. The discourse which is being carried out goes the separatist and anti-national line. I'm very surprised that this kind of discourse coming out from a mainstream national party.
And while you talk about Tehseen Poonawalla, you've latched on to this one word, dirty war, which for your convenience, let me also remind you, it has been established on India Today in our Operation Courier tapes that there are people who are on Pakistan's payrolls who are funding and arming these young men, just a section of these men, to pelt stones, to take on the forces and to endanger their own people. And let me quote to you again from this PTI copy that you keep going back to Tehseen Poonawalla, where the army chief also said tomorrow elections have to be held in Anantnag and similar things may happen. If the army does not respond to call for assistance, then the trust between the people whom we are protecting, police and army, will break. Our people, Tehseen Poonawalla. Why did Mr. Chidambaram not pay any attention to that? Can Major General Kakkar also come in on that?
Now I'll answer that. When you say that you have on tapes...
No, one sec. Let me just raise one or two issues. Poonawalla, just wait.
Sorry.
Firstly, what the chief said, his exact words were very clear. It is Pakistan playing a dirty game in Kashmir. That is what he said. It is not a dirty game being played by our people. Secondly, you've also got to realize that interfering in operations is as bad as participating on the side of the militants. Therefore, that has to be dealt with. Thirdly, a rescue operation going in, resulting in casualties which the nation would repent, had ingenious action as taken by the officer not been done. In fact, it was his maturity and his age which enabled him to take this action. Any young officer with about 1 or 2 or 3 years of service would have reacted differently and opened fire, for which then Chidambaram would have said, look at what the army has done, used excessive force. Here is a mature officer who took an ingenious method out, Without firing a round, he pulled them out. He must have taken him to the nearest camp, which may have been 18-20 kilometers away. And en route, if villages come, they come. That's okay. But the fact, and in the mine-protected vehicle, had the petrol bomb hit, had the polling officials died, okay? You still don't know who the polling officials are and what their human rights are. Are they not entitled to human rights and security? Are they not Kashmiris? Are they not Indians? Why are you ignoring them? Why are you only getting after one man?
Yes, go ahead.
And finally, what I want you to remember is that the Indian Army is responsible to the government of India and the mass community of Indians, not one or two people who object. Those are not of our concern.
All right,
they are responsible to the government and majority.
If Mr. Chidambaram is objecting to politicization of the army, maybe he should stop doing that himself, shouldn't he?
There are 3 points that are raised and I will answer all 3 of them quickly. Point number 1, Aman Sinha gave this huge lecture on nationalism and patriotism. Ask Aman Sinha if you and your channel have the guts to ask the BJP what happened to Tej Bahadur, who they threw out because he complained of food. Do not ever give us this bhashan of
First of all, Tehseen Poonawalla, please don't ever come on air and talk about guts.
In 2012, my cousins...
Let's leave that aside. This chest beating, I have no time for this. Okay?
And do not challenge
let's leave all this rhetoric about guts.
Point number 2.
Don't worry about that guts. Just make your point about your party.
Point number 2. The rhetoric is all 3 of you indulging in. Point number 2. Point number two, in 2012, my cousins were in Srinagar when my friends were shooting a movie in Srinagar. That is how much Kashmir had normalized. It is this BJP 56-inch Prime Minister in Delhi and his government in Kashmir.
Mr. Poonawalla, maybe you should go back to Kashmir now, where barring 5 districts, you should go and see what Kashmir is about, even now.
And point number 3.
In 1989. Who was in government in 1989?
So if it is about 5 districts,
go back and check up your facts and then come back. Kashmir problem is the creation of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
Please ask him to keep quiet.
The Kashmir was the only state where the integration was left to Jawaharlal Nehru, and Dr. Vallabhbhai Patel was in charge of integration of all other
states. You will not block him from talking, so why do you need me?
Kashmir was the only state which was left to Nehru.
Okay, we are not going to go back to Mr. Nehru's time because...
So now I challenge you on this show. Aman Sinha. No, now I will challenge him. No, I will answer that.
Okay,
no, I will answer that.
I do not know your challenge.
No, I will answer that. Don't let him run away with that.
What do you mean by challenge? Who are you to challenge me? Who are you to challenge me? Please go introspect. Who are you and who are you to challenge me? What have you done in your life that you will challenge me?
Of course he ran away. Again, you will not let me talk.
What are you telling me?
I am telling you
go back
now
and tell yourself.
No, wait. I want to ask you for the final 10 seconds. I want to ask you, Tehseen Poonawalla, just remind you of what Mr. Chidambaram said in 2010, and this is a PIB press release. Shri Chidambaram said that violence being witnessed in Jammu and Kashmir must be dealt with in a strong and resolute manner. So you had the then Home Minister in 2010 talking about a resolute manner to deal with violence. Why has things changed so drastically 7 years later, just because someone else is in government? Final 20 seconds, I'll let you have the last word. And then tell me if this is not political opportunism.
I will first answer Sinha's point. Since he brought up Vallabhbhai Patel and Nehru, I will first answer Sinha's point since he brought up Nehru.
All right. I really wish, Tehseen Poonawalla, you had answered my question, because that was just a very basic question that would have really answered that question we were trying to get answers to in the People's Court. But we're out of time. We will take this issue forward as well. For now, thank you very much, Tehseen Poonawalla, Major General Harsha Kakkar and Aman Sinha for joining us in the People's Court. You've heard all the sides. As usual, the decision is up to you. Thanks for joining us.